Hello and welcome to your post-race show. Wow, what a showdown here in Monza. It was Max Verstappen who started on pole position, Lando Norris alongside. The drivers traded positions in the opening laps, but Max Verstappen retook the lead of the race and then he didn't look back, finishing the race with a 26-second gap between himself and Lando Norris, just behind, and takes his third win of the season and 25 points in the bag. And it is, of course, Lauren Mecky's first win as team principal, so a very special one indeed. It seemed relatively straightforward for Max Verstappen, apart from the opening of the race. Let's talk through the opening moments between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, where they did trade places momentarily.
Well, we said before Lando had to do it at the start, and he got a great start, didn't he? Straight up the inside, and then Max couldn't come across to defend because the initial launch was good, and Lando's first corners were just perfect. Late enough that Max had to go super deep to try and defend. Max couldn't make the corner, Lando just could, so he was always going to have to give up the place. He did that. It looked like Lando was then in the best seat in the house to be able to pull away and win. But he didn't have the pace. Max came back through, another nice pass. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really incredible because Lando really stepped up. I thought when he went through the grass, he was going to back off and Oscar was going to come around, and he actually dive bombed. I'm like, oh yeah! It was really, really good to see. But as you said, the surprise of, Red Bull's pace. You know what I mean? I think everybody was surprised. Whatever they changed for Max this weekend, it really found some speed that they didn't have before.
And the confidence that he had as well was, you could just see it very quickly when he let Lando go, Lando built the gap, and then like that, he was straight back on him. Made the pass around the outside, really good. And then the next laps was just fastest lap, fastest lap, fastest lap, fastest lap. I think there were 5 or 6 in a row, and you thought, he's in the zone today. This is going to be Max gone, and it was.
It wasn't quite so easy between the battle between the McLarens behind, but let's remind ourselves of how that race unfolded with our race highlights.
And the Italian Grand Prix is underway. Max Verstappen looking across at Lando Norris. He's got the inside line and they're wheel to wheel. They're side by side. He's on the grass, Lando Norris, trying to take the lead of this one. Taking the widest possible line. Will they make it through? Max Verstappen goes off the road. Piastri roaring back to take the place, crucial for his chances of winning the Grand Prix. Max Verstappen is told to give the position back to Lando Norris, who takes the lead. And Max Verstappen inching closer. He wants to retake the lead of this Grand Prix that he had to give up. Inside line for Lando Norris, roaring around the outside. Will they make the corner? Unbelievable move to take the lead.
Suspension failure. This is unbelievable, man.
Having to deal with Carlos Sainz, who's got the momentum, trying to go the long way round. There's the contact between the two of them. The yellow flag is out. Can the cars keep going? They can. What's going on with Lando Norris here? What's going on with Lando Norris? The slow stop has cost Lando Norris track position.
Let Lando pass, then you're free to race.
We said that a slow pit stop was part of racing. I don't really get what changed here, but we really went to do it to help him.
Max Verstappen wins the Italian Grand Prix.
Huge congratulations to Max Verstappen and Red Bull. The Tifosi, though, all weekend have been the real winners here. So much support from them. Let's go down to Davide Valsecchi, where he's in amongst all the action.
What an amazing atmosphere. All the Tifosi here underneath the podium. They're very happy. They're very happy. What about the race?
It's we won, Ferrari win, but today is not the day, but next year maybe. But to be here, it's an amazing, it's fantastic. So
They are positive anyway, happy anyway to be here in Monza. Thank you guys. I'm very happy for you. Ciao belli.
I don't think we're ever going to see Davide again, are we?
Ferrari
He's
win
going to
the
just
race?
stay there. I
Did I miss
know.
something?
It just
They were
shows,
fourth and
doesn't it?
sixth. They weren't even on the podium.
I know, it's crazy.
They just like motorsport. It's in their blood, isn't it? But what an incredible atmosphere it's been. I just want to touch upon Alex Albon first before we get into all the details of the race, because he put in another strong performance. Again, you know, qualifying didn't go their way. They couldn't get the tyre in the right window, and he's finished in P7.
Another strong drive. He's a man on fire, isn't he, at the moment? He's probably, is he going to join us?
He is going to
come and
join us.
Hi.
That's exactly
Hello
right.
again.
Good to see you.
Good. Hello, guys.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Very good. How do you reflect on that?
What do you call that? Recovery. After a really disappointing qualifying session, I think realistically our pace was always there where you saw it this weekend, and it looks almost offset because we just went back to the pace of the car from free practice. So it's amazing once you get the tyres hot, which happens in the race, the car works. So yeah.
Imagine if you guys could qualify again. You'd
Honestly,
be up there with the Ferraris with the pace that you had today.
I can't remember the last time I had a good qualifying session. So Spa. Our pace was on par with Ferrari, and at times even the McLarens on the hard compound tyres. So we had really good degradation. We've seen it with our car. Always on the low downforce, we go well, and yeah, it was honestly quite an easy race.
Yeah, I think mechanically you guys do a really good job with the
Yep.
car, and it behaves really well. And honestly, I think we're all shocked in qualifying because
Yeah.
it seems like in every practice you could still put a lap together.
Yep.
And I don't know what it is with qualifying. I know you guys struggle with with temperature in the front
Yes.
tires and everything, but is it?
So in FP3 on my 5th lap on the soft tire, I was and FP3 fuel loads, I was a tenth slower than my Q2 lap, which is not a good sign. And that's all temperature related. And the problem in free practice, you have the luxury of doing push calls. You can manipulate the tires. You know, obviously when you do multiple pushes laps in free practice, you can get the tires where you want them, and you can get them into a happy place. We spent the whole weekend simulating a bad qualifying session, trying to create.
And you matched it.
And we finished the same. So it's not that we haven't tried, and I don't think it's just tires. I think it's the way the car works. I think that's partly our strength in the race is our weakness in qualifying, and yeah, it is frustrating.
So what does an easy race look like from the cockpit? 53 laps, drive round, give it your best shot, shake some hands at the end, 6 points. Thank you very much.
I was the first car on the hard tire. Everyone pitted in front of me, and this race is quite fun because the deg, basically you get a negative deg, so you go quicker and quicker every lap. You can just push more and more and more, and the balance just gets better and better. The fuel load comes off, and so you just end up. It feels almost like qualifying every lap, and yeah, in that sense, it's an easy race. I'm not fighting anyone. I had a little bit with Kimi at one point, but
yeah, he put you on the grass.
Yeah, he did.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Very.
I was like,
correct.
oh, and I had the grip advantage, obviously, and I knew I had to do it early whilst I had it. I thought he would give me space. I was like, and no, he's not. So I had to back off.
Alex, at the start of this week, James Vowles basically sort of set out the target, didn't he? He said, we've got to bring home big points here,
Yeah.
and also big points in Baku.
Yeah.
You've done it here. Obviously,
here.
it would be good to be on the other side of the garage as well, but, you know, you've
Yes.
extended your position at 5th in the
It
teams
is
at the moment.
We know that we call it the R20. It's our low downforce wing. We saw it in Miami, and we've seen it here. It just works. It's all the properties of that wing works for our car, and it's clear when we go higher and higher, we get slower and slower relative to our rivals. Baku is the next time we'll use it. We don't use it many more times, maybe Mexico.
And Vegas, maybe?
And Vegas. So, and they're always the tracks that we tend to go well at. So we are scrapping. I do think a lot of the midfield teams have made big steps. The Saubers look really strong now. Obviously, the RBs are always quick. And it's important to have a race like this where we finish at the top of the midfield.
Absolutely.
You're 7th in the Drivers' Championship. That's got to be a private goal, surely, to stay there.
It is. We're fighting Kimi till Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Alex, always a pleasure. Congratulations.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us. See you in a couple of weeks. Let's go down to Marietta now, who is with Andrea Stella, team principal at McLaren.
Andrea, can you talk us through those team orders to restore Lando to P2? Obviously, what happened last weekend wasn't his fault, but there was nothing you could do.
Yeah.
Today, it wasn't his fault, but there was something you could do.
Yeah, we can certainly talk through it. Let me first start by saying that like the decision we made today doesn't have to do with what happened in the Netherlands. It's completely independent of the DNF that the team caused in the Netherlands for Lando, but this is a completely separate situation, and we take one race at a time. And today, when we started the pit stop sequencing, we started the sequencing pinting Oscar first, but with a clear intent that we would have not swapped the positions. Unfortunately, this compounded with the fact that we had a slow pit stop, but because we had the sequence with Oscar first and then the slow pit stop, we thought that the fair thing to do was to go back to the positions that we had before the pit stop. I'm sure this is Oscar will be very comfortable with this. He already was comfortable during the race, so we show again the values, the principles that we have at McLaren.
Was mentioning Hungary last year to Oscar the best way to make sure he'd be happy with this?
Yeah, of course, like we have Hungary, but after Hungary we had so many conversations, so much alignment with each other as to how we go racing, so I don't think we need to go so far back. I think we just stick and refer to the principles and the approach that we have in the way we go racing, so yeah, no, I think it's all right.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Interesting stuff. I mean, yeah, it's all very well having that kind of approach, but they're fighting for a world championship title. You know, is there a point that maybe they are over-engineering this a little bit too much?
I would say the engineering started before the pit stop phase, because Lando was given the choice to pit first or second. He said, well, I'm not going to pit second if you're going to undercut me. And that's effectively what happened then with the slow stop. It's just a bit murky, isn't it? Where they're allowed to race and where they're not. Obviously, Andrea's thinking that things are streamlined. Oscar didn't think that in the car at the time, but I think the first thing is Lando drove better this weekend. So from a driver point of view, it's probably the right result. But then these things happen in racing, and it might happen again. And I just feel like they may have opened a can of worms here, because what happens if the pit stop's 7 seconds or 8 seconds? The driver has to then back off even more? We've seen also times this year, Hungary, where Oscar was the better driver through the weekend, and Lando effectively overcut or did the different strategy to win the race, and then Oscar finished on his gearbox, but there was no chance they were going to swap the positions around, even if the team strategy on the day favoured Lando to win. So, difficult one, but if the drivers are happy with it in the end, then I guess that'll be out. I'd just be surprised if it doesn't rear its head again before the end of the season.
Well, you know, he's obviously taking it as a race-by-race scenario. He's not going to, you know, have one blanket rule for the rest of the season. But ultimately, what happened today, do you think it's fair?
I think McLaren doesn't want to be part of the Drivers' Championship. I think they want the drivers, whoever drives better, to win, and they don't want to have part of it. I think they feel really bad what happened to Lando the last race, and they go, hey, yes, we took points away because a mechanical issue, and that's part of racing, but I think they were very clear in the intent today. So I think I understand everybody's point of view, but I think it was a good way of going, hey, what we think is fair as a team. We need to make sure as a team we don't piss anybody off and keep it a little balanced. Like, this way they're both pissed off, but not massively.
So, I mean, what happens then if later down the line, okay, so Lando's having a bit of bad luck now, they get closer and closer in the points, and then in a couple of races' time, Piastri gets a bit of bad luck, but it's a lot closer to the final race. What's going to happen then?
But it's already happened, because they did have that situation in Hungary, where they could have pitted Lando for a second time, which would be equal to what Oscar had, and they didn't then choose to pit Lando for the second stop and make it kind of, in inverted commas, fair on that one. I know Lando still had to do a lot of work to win the race, and it was a great fight. But his strategy was helped by the team. Here, the pit stop obviously worked for Oscar. It didn't work for Lando. You win some, you lose some. That's how motor racing goes. We've had it our whole careers. But then they sort of manipulate the situation to right the wrong. And from a McLaren point of view, you'd feel terrible, wouldn't you, being the front left wheel gun man to have cost Lando on that day?
Is that guy the guy that made a mistake? Is it an Oscar mechanic? Is it a Lando mechanic? It's just, the best way of going, hey, we want to be neutral, we want to be a white flag, and whoever wins the championship here as a driver is going to be because he drove better, and we want to have the least input in it.
Should we get the opinion of a world champion?
There
Come
we
on,
go.
Jack Villeneuve, come on in. We are just discussing and debating whether or not it was the right thing to do, you know, bringing in team orders at McLaren.
Well,
What do you think?
In this instance, yes, it was only for a second place. Minimal points, makes it look good, rebalance it. And remember, we had to rebalance Hungary from last year, which gave Oscar his first win. And also, Norris was supposed to come in first. He had the lead on the two drivers, and he said, no, it's okay, put Oscar in first to protect him from Ferrari. And that's also what made the difference. So it was fair to rebalance it that way anyway.
Okay, so do we stop rebalancing from here?
Well, hold on.
Is the balance,
because Piastri
found
said,
a balance?
Yeah, but Piastri said, listen, it was under discussion. If something happened at pit stop, too bad. But there had been that swap early on who would pit first. That's why they did it.
I agree.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, let's hear from Oscar Piastri, see what he thinks.
Hey, Oscar, it looked like a really tough day in some ways because it felt you were just chasing it a tiny bit today in terms of performance. Just reflect on it for me from the P3.
Yeah, a little bit tricky. I think as a team, we just didn't have amazing pace today. I think the first part of the race was struggling with the balance quite a bit. And then towards the end of the medium stint, actually things came good, and I was happy and the pace was really strong. So yeah, I think some good things to learn there. Yeah, maybe not the best opening lap or two as either, which didn't really help things, but no, nothing too much to complain about.
And obviously that moment towards the end when the team asked you to move over, kind of heard what you said on team radio, but what's your view of how it all played out? And obviously you did it almost immediately, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there was clearly valid reasons for swapping back, and you know, Lando qualified ahead, was ahead the whole race, so I get that. There's just some things we need to discuss.
Thanks, Oscar.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. That will be an interesting race debrief, that's for sure. Delighted to say that joining us once again on the show, we have Gabriel Bortoleto with us. Congratulations, a fourth race finishing in the points. Well done.
Yeah, I'm happy. I think we delivered what we could today. I think I gave everything with the pace, and you know, it was very nice that I could keep up as well with Kimi at the end. So I knew he had probably a penalty that could come, so was pushing a lot and managed to be also matching his pace at the end. So that was good.
Your progress that you've made in like the last 5 or 6 races has been a huge jump. What do you put that down to?
I don't know. I think it's working. It's understanding the car. It's you know, now I come to the racetrack. I know the lines I can cross, or lines that if I cross, it can go very wrong in the weekend, and I can lose a bit the idea of what I need from my car. So I think I've just been understanding a bit more things.
Yeah, I think generally, it seems like when we go to tracks that you've been before, you've been performing better and better and better, and it's been really good. Have you guys changed the car a lot, or has it been more upgrades?
No, I think in Barcelona was the first upgrade that we brought that really worked, that we went from less to close to the points. And then Austria was another big step, and then Silverstone was the last one that could actually make a difference. And from there on, we have been always fighting for these positions. Obviously, you need to have a very good quali. I think quali has been a big thing for us, because when we are able to put the car there, you know, that extra tenth, you can take it out in a mega lap. When we start the race in that position, we can stay there. Maybe not go forward, but we stay there. And I think this is how we are able to score points.
That's awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Seems like every time you're in the top 10, you're fighting with Fernando. It was the same again today. A pit stop battle for you guys. How was that? Did you see Fernando coming in behind you? You could see him right there, knowing this is going to be a tough one.
You know, with Fernando, it's complicated. Before the race, he was like, I need to just get your toe. You know, I don't have top speed. I'm not going to overtake you. And then I'm braking for the pit entry, and I see just a lot of smoke coming behind me. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get destroyed now. And he had a mega pit entry. And then, yeah, when he had a better pit stop than me, and I knew I had much better top speed from the choice we had in the setup, and I managed to get the DRS. I think he was pushing so much in that moment. He was giving everything, sliding a lot. And I think in that moment, I think he broke the suspension or something like this.
Yeah.
So a shame, because I would love to fight against him, because he has been very tough to me in the last times we were fighting each other on track.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. You've managed to put your team, though, only 7 points behind Aston Martin, so you're coming for them.
Good.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, give it to them. I don't have enough hands. Can't multitask. Let's quickly touch upon what happened to Fernando Alonso there. Such disappointment at such a critical point.
Yeah, I think he was a bit unlucky, really. Just loaded up and the suspension buckled. He had this guy right up behind him, so he's having to push, lean on it.
Yeah, but that shouldn't happen. I mean, these cars, you can beat on them like there's no tomorrow. You can run over everything normally. So that's just a normal failure. You know, the loading here, especially, is not that high because the downforce level is pretty low. Yes, you do a lot of curbs riding, but the curves are not even that high. So it's kind of surprising, to be honest.
Yeah, there must have been some issue already, some crack, because they run on curbs every race. They bang each other's wheels, they hit walls, nothing ever breaks.
It's amazing how many times they can hit each other, and then even Sainz and Behrman run into each other, they're pirouetting round, and they carried on.
Link?
Yeah.
It's like crazy. It's like, whoop. It's like they haven't even stopped and they're already, trying to go.
I mean, another sort of no-point score for Aston Martin. How worried are they going to be, the fact that the likes of Kick Sauber are only 7 points off them in the team standings?
I think they'll be okay. There'll be better tracks for them coming up. I think they had written this one off as a tricky one. Obviously, they wanted the points in the end. You're never going to be happy to wave goodbye to a 7th or 8th place finish, but they will have better races. Fernando's always a tiger in the car. They'll be scoring some good points still.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully to be back on form. Right, let's go to another interview.
Hey, Lando, heck of a race out there. That start, you must have thought it was all going as well as it could do. Just talk me through that moment, that opening sequence and battle with Max.
Yeah, well, it would have been cooler if it meant something. In the end, didn't mean anything because he was just way faster than us. So a shame, I risked a lot for pretty much nothing in the end. It was a nice battle, a little bit on the edge. But I expect nothing less, and I know that's how tough it's going to be. So yeah, it was good fun, and I enjoyed it. It was close. Even when you actually got me into turn 1, we were both pretty lit on the brakes. I think if there was a 1 mile an hour tailwind, we both were locking up and going straight. So it was cool. It was good fun. We just had no answer. We were too slow today, which is disappointing to say. It's not often this year we've needed or ever could say that, but this weekend we just didn't have the pace, and that was clear already on Friday. So we have a bit of work to do, especially on these lower downforce circuits. We know that. So here, Vegas, things like that, we're not the most optimistic, but I think coming away with the second was the best I could do today, and therefore I have to be happy.
Yeah, I was going to say, despite all of that, P2 still, what was going through your mind when you had that slow stop? Because I imagine time stops. And then obviously the decision from the team to ask Oscar to swap back.
Yeah, well, it's what we decided as a team beforehand. If it was the other way around, we'd done exactly the same thing. So, yeah, it's not how I want things to go. I don't make these things. I don't plan for these things. I don't want to win or be second or third or whatever like this. But it's the most fair thing. And if I was behind and Oscar had the same thing, I would have to give up my position because it's not my fault. It's not Oscar's fault. It was a team mistake. Which happens every now and then, and that costs me. So, yes, I know it doesn't look the best thing. I don't want it. But it's the most fair in the end of the day for driver against driver. And that's how the team want to play it, and I think that's the most fair way. So, yeah.
Thanks, Lando. Cheers.
Okay, so Lando is saying it's the most fair thing to do, also that they had agreed it pre-race anyway, so Piastri would have known that it was coming. But it was interesting that after the race, Lando Norris said absolutely nothing on the team radio. Is that anything indicative of what happened?
I think he was calm about it. I think he knew it was coming. I think there was no drama. I think if it would have been a couple of laps and nothing would have happened, I think he would have reacted, go, hey, we talked about it, what's going on? But And the other thing is, he hit the marks. He stopped in the box. He put the car where he needed. It's not like, I think if he would have outbrake himself into the pits or do something, a silly mistake, then you go, yeah, you deserve not to get the position. But he did everything right.
Actually, the crucial thing is, it seems like both McLaren drivers are fine with the decision. Even Oscar was okay. I think when you're in Lando's position, you always feel uncomfortable because you feel like you've been given a helping hand. He hasn't needed it this weekend because he's been driving really well, but in the end you feel sometimes a little bit embarrassed to accept it, to get back to where you are, and he just wanted to deserve it on the track. But I think he's driven amazingly this weekend as well. Qualifying that last up at Q3, we've seen a few times earlier in the season, he would have not made that and been 6th on the grid or something. Instead, he's on the front row. From the front row, he gets an amazing start and actually beats Max in wheel-to-wheel combat at the first corner. What he could control, I think he did really well. What he couldn't control, the team made up, and both drivers seem okay with it in the end.
He seems to race Max better than he races his teammate every time. Because what I don't understand is why did he tell the team, oh no, it's okay, pit Piastri before me. You want to be world champion. You don't do anything to help your teammate, ever.
But that's all the safety car chance, isn't it? Because the whole race, everyone was scared about the safety car coming the next lap, especially when all the gravel's on the outside of the track. Because if Lando pits and then the next lap there's a safety car, Oscar's ahead, and then what do you do with changing it back?
Then it's a fair racing thing. It's not a McLaren control situation. So
But these are quite blurry lines, though, aren't they? That's back to the topic of it.
Yeah, but I think a safety car would be completely out of the. It would be a racing element.
Rather than a McLaren mistake.
Than a McLaren mistake, yes. I think that's the big line there that I don't think they want to get involved with.
Fair enough. Well, we will see what they do in the next race between the two of them. Now we're going to go to Marietta, who is with team principal of Ferrari, Fred Vasseur.
Fred, Charles really fought for P3 at the beginning with Piastri, and all of the Ferrari fans were like, why not a win from P4 like last year? But it wasn't to be in the end.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know if we were a bit over-raves at the beginning, but we overheated the tire the first couple of laps, and we paid the price the first 10. But overall, it's probably also our best weekend compared to McLaren from the beginning of the season. It's the only downside is that Max is outstanding.
On a positive note, a lot of positives from Lewis Hamilton weekend. He did gain positions in the race. He sounded very happy with the team on the radio.
Yeah, honestly, I think he did a very strong weekend. He was there from FP1. He was P5 in quali, and with the penalty, he had to fight the first 10 laps to come back P6 behind George, and then he was matching George, and it's a good recovery. Not an easy weekend for him with the penalty, but okay, now it's a new start of the season, I think, in his mind, and let's fight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Fred Vasseur ready for the fight. I mean, Leclerc finishing P4, Hamilton in 6th. Is that all they could hope for today?
I think everybody was hoping for a little more. I think the race, in practice they looked a little stronger, but genuine. I think the big surprise, I would go back to, Max and Red Bull, how quick they were. I think where McLaren were is where everybody expected, and yeah, maybe they could have been a little closer, but Charles had a really good pace in the beginning of the race. He fought, but he had nothing. Like, that's all they had, and I think they maximized. I think Lewis had a really good race. He was happy. It's like the first time in the radio when he did the stop, he got in the radio and said, "Hey, that was a great stop, guys. Thank you." It was like, what?
He's happy.
Yay!
I think it's a sad day when you say P4, P6, great result. That for a Ferrari,
tough,
that's a sad day.
Yeah.
They're getting used to these results.
Yeah, they didn't have the pace, did they? I thought Charles was going to have a good shot when he made the better start, got back ahead of Oscar, but I agree, this is Monza. This is the race where if they want to win one, this was one of their good chances. I still think there was an opportunity to get Charles further up the grid, but in the end, they didn't have the pace in the race anyway. And his first stint, he was very slow in those early laps, Charles. He just dropped away and then managed to find a pace. And he didn't finish far away from the McLarens.
No one managed to pull out any form of different tyre strategy like Leclerc did last year.
How good is this overtake, guys?
Yeah.
Piastri ran the outside of Leclerc.
Yeah, downforce versus low downforce as well. Aggressive. Leclerc was also a little bit in the toe, so he was slippery. He was not expecting
really
that. That's why he was struggling. Ferrari was very low in downforce, super quick down the straight. It was obvious they were going to struggle in the race, and both drivers managed to salvage it, which was quite impressive.
But I thought, when he's going for the outside of Lesmo 1, I thought, you're in the gravel. There's no way you're making this one stick.
Yeah, I think Charles.
We both raced on ovals. That looked like an oval move.
It was a really good oval move, and then you have somebody in the inside that wanted to finish the race.
Correct.
Yeah, because honestly, if that would have been Max, it would have been gravel.
Brilliant to see, though. The wheel to racing, that's for sure. Now, unfortunately, the Tifosi did not have the podium finish that they wanted, but it doesn't affect their energy. Let's go down to Davide in with all the action and the crowds.
Underneath the podium, Tifosi here. I think the atmosphere is fantastic, and to be honest, we cannot see even the podium from this place because the podium is up there. So the driver, they were celebrating there, but they are anyway happy. I think it's a fantastic place to race.
It is just the best atmosphere, isn't it? It is unbeatable. Wow, what a moment in motorsport. I just absolutely love it. Let's talk a little bit about Kimi Antonelli, because again, the pressure was on him coming to this, a home race for him. He did have the support from the fans as well. Managed to finish P9. I mean, he did have that penalty, so he dropped from P8 to P9. Do you think he can walk away reflecting on a positive race, or does he just need to start bringing the results now? You know, we're well over halfway past the season.
I don't know. You look at Bortoleto, rookie, in a Sauber, good result, get points, yeah.
Solid.
You're in a Mercedes, you know, you got millions of tests during winter, you're prepared. You don't get here as a young rookie, you get here well prepared. Your teammate is racing at the front, he's got more than double your points. You can't be satisfied with P9, and that kind of move in turn, if it's a corner, I don't remember, in where he pushes another car off in the grass there.
Albon.
You don't, yeah, Albon, thank you. You don't do that in Formula 1. You do that in Formula 4, and even then, they should be, you don't do that. He's lucky he got only 5 seconds.
I'm not so harsh. I think it was, he qualified close. I didn't actually see what happened to him at the start, because that's what dropped him back, and then he was trying to come through. I still think he's 19, he's younger than the other rookies coming through, he's less experienced than the other rookies. His teammate is a race winner as well. I'm not.
He's older than Max was when he was running at the front, so you can't use age as an excuse. You can't. Not in Formula 1.
No, I think, honestly, after the mistake last week and crashing Charles out of the race, I think today, and we talked about it, I think he was going to be either too aggressive being home race or too cautious, and he was too cautious, lost a bunch of places in the start, and then you're trying to do more than what you can, and it just gets frustrating. It's so hard when you're in the car and you're trying your best, and then you see a Williams when you're in the Mercedes, and you think there's no way I'm gonna let this guy by, and then you make a mistake, and then you get a penalty, and then you end up behind a Sauber because the penalty. You need to open the gap, and the pace is not there because you cooked the tires. It's like a big snowball, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's so hard to stop.
But don't you think we need small steps, because he's a rookie? I know I know the age doesn't count in your mind, but you know, he's come off the crash in Zandvoort, and the field is so close that if he's half a tenth off George Russell, who's a top line driver, that's quite good. And just because the field's so close, in years gone by, there was a much bigger field spread. So if he was this close to George, he'd be next to George on the grid. He was anyway today. But
I think in qualifying he was really good, but I think he needs somebody next to him going, like controlling him a little more. He needs a little guidance. I think he's fast. He should have a really bright future in Formula 1. Toto and Mercedes really believe in him. But he needs to, somebody needs to go, just chill. Let's just go little by little. Because every time you make a mistake, you go off, you have a bad start, you crash. It's just like 3 steps, like you're doing, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And it's just so hard to change that rhythm.
But he's paying the price of the way he was brought into Formula 1. He's brought in with the big hooplas. He's the next Max Verstappen. He's the next Lewis. He's actually replacing Lewis Hamilton. So when you come in with that kind of image, you need to be on it. The same way Max was when he came in, the same Max Lewis was when he came in. And that's what's not been happening, and he hasn't been making progress. That's the biggest issue.
It's difficult, though. Who made that image? Did Mercedes make that image, or did we all make that image when you're stepping into that position?
Well, they did a Netflix documentary on him before he's even turned a wheel, so that's a lot of hype before you get started.
Fair enough. I mean, obviously, you need both the drivers to bring the points, and that gap between Mercedes and Ferrari has now widened. Mercedes 20 points off Ferrari. Let's talk Isaac Hajar at Racing Bulls for a moment, because he started from the pit lane. he finished in the points. I mean, that was a really solid drive. He had that podium last time out. Okay, starting from the pits is clearly far from ideal, but to finish the race in the points from starting in that position, he must reflect positively.
Yeah, I mean, he's done over-deliver in that car. And it's like weekend, you know, every weekend he's there. He was very disappointed in qualified yesterday. The team, you know, as you said, he started from the pit lane. And to actually get to 10th place from the pit lane is not easy. You know what I mean? He did a really good job, a clean race, didn't make mistakes. We didn't hear from him all day. There was nothing about him, and, you know, took another point. It's he's executing. It's what everybody would expect from Antonelli would be that. It's just execution. We're not looking to, you know, make the whole world on fire. It's just plain simple execution.
Yeah, and it's the other extreme of the spectrum. He had a tough first race, let's remember. And how does he react when it's tough? He comes back stronger. He shows that pressure affects him positively. And he keeps making progress and getting better results. That's what you want from a rookie from the start of this season. Progress. You see Bortoleto doing it, and you see Ajar doing it. You don't see Behrman doing it, and you don't see Antonelli doing it.
Pressure on Antonelli then, isn't there?
That's how you really feel.
Now, there is one driver we haven't heard from yet. It is, of course, our race winner. Let's hear from Max Verstappen.
Hey Max, well, obviously congratulations on an epic win out there. Talk me through kind of the mindset through that race and when it became clear that you could actually go win this thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, better than expected. Once I got back into the lead, just focusing on my own pace. Of course, I was not sure how long that was going to be the case, but yeah, the car was holding on quite well. Just, I would say the last 6 to 8 laps, maybe on the mediums were a bit harder. But then I think we did the right strategy, you know, medium, hard tires. And the car just felt a lot more together compared to some previous races or basically the whole year. So that then allows me to push a bit more.
I know it's a very specific track around here, not similar to ones coming up, but does this kind of give you hope that if the team can kind of get things right in the moment, you can win more races now?
Well, I think we made a step forward with the setup. Of course, this is low down for us. Zandvoort is high down for us, and you know there will be some tracks that will be low down for us, medium down for us, higher down for us. So I think it will be a bit track dependent, where we might be a bit more competitive. But of course, for us today was an incredible day. We take it, and yeah, we just keep on trying to improve our package.
Great stuff. Congrats.
I mean, you could just tell what it meant to Max and the whole team, because they haven't been winning. You know, this is third win of the season, which is not a position that Max is typically finding himself in. So it was a really big one. But let's touch upon what's happened to his teammate. Yuki Tsunoda started the weekend saying, I think we've got really good pace. Started on the grid, I think he was down in P9, and then finished out of the points again. He's got the Red Bull car. He should have the pace. What's going on?
I want to throw this one to Jacques.
We're all looking at him under the bus.
You know, Max is old-fashioned. He works with his engineer, works with his team. He just doesn't rely on data. So he thinks, okay, this is what we can do. Maybe we could take some wing off. And we saw that in Suzuka. He made a difference. What did they do in Suzuka with Yuki? Oh, let's put more downforce. That's what it's safer, but it's slower. So he managed to get a good setup. The car is fast, and he knows before driving the car that he will be able to do it. And they don't have that confidence with Yuki.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part. You know, you've got Yuki Tsunoda really struggling, and looking at Max Verstappen, who does it so effortlessly.
I think you could see that Yuki didn't have the confidence, just the way that he was racing as well. I mean, Behrman must have braked about 100 meters later than him when he came out of the pits. I know Yuki was coming out of the pits on the hards, but there wasn't a huge amount of fight. Even he got overtaken in the first stint, didn't he, at the end of the points? Who was it that came past up the inside? And he didn't put up a big fight at that point either. And I've forgotten it, but it was for 10th place. And there were just a couple of these, was it Kimi Antonelli maybe coming through? And you just thought, there's not a driver that's having confidence, being able to brake late, being able to get his elbows out. Max is full of confidence, especially in the car that they had today. You knew that he was going to be up for it. And on the other end of the spectrum, Yuki just didn't look like he was feeling the grip.
Yeah, I think at that point when you're struggling, if you want to come out of that hole, you really need to bring your side of the garage together. You need people that believe in you and people that are willing to try things. And you can't keep coming to the racetrack with the same thing and hoping that things are going to get better if you don't change. Max did the best example. He's not happy. We're going to change. They changed the car. He ended up winning the race. And I think he needs to find direction. He needs to find something that is going to give him the right feel in the car where he's going to get more comfortable and it's going to get more speed. But if you keep coming, and yes, he was getting better, he's getting closer, he's, you know, made it to Q3. There's steps going in the right direction, but they need to be bigger steps.
It was interesting because after qualifying, when Max had obviously put it on pole, he came out saying, you know, relax, guys, I was right. They wanted to do one setup change. He said, no, we're going to do it my way. And my way was right. So he, again, it just reminds us that he has the confidence, he has the power within that team.
He's leading the team, isn't he? And he has done for quite a long time now. All of the direction, we spoke about it on Thursday, the direction that the evolution of the car's gone is towards Max's feedback. He's a very sensitive driver that knows what he wants. The low downforce trim, he likes it. That's why even at Silverstone they took pole, because they took loads of wing off and got closer to this spec. And he was rapid. He finds the balance, he finds the grip, and he loves it.
Is that rapid speed going to carry on in 2 weeks' time in Baku?
Well, Baku is quite a low downforce track, I think. There's a long straight line, and there's a section with corners, section with a very long straight line. So you can make compromises like here, and Max is a master of that, so you couldn't expect him to be quick there. McLaren will balance it out a bit because there's the corners, but they still won't be quick in the straight line.
Well, let's take a look at the weekend schedule that you have to look forward to in less than 2 weeks' time when we do head to Baku. It is, of course, going to be our weekend warm-up at 4:30, kicking off on Thursday, the 18th of September. Then on the Friday, we have FP1 and FP2 in the afternoon, 12:15 and 3:45. Then practice 3 Saturday morning, and it's our pre-qualifying show at 3:30 with qualifying on the 20th of September at 4 o'clock, followed by our post-quali show. And then we go racing again. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix will kick off with a pre-race show at 2 o'clock. And then it's lights out at 3, followed by a post-race show. Really not that long before we get to go racing again. What are the teams going to be working on? Is it all going to be eyes on Max Verstappen now?
I think everybody's going to be wondering, have they found enough? Because they always struggle with traction and slow speed corners. Everywhere where there's fast corners, stability, Silverstone, Suzuka, they can perform. This is the first time this year that they went to a track where they're slow, like slow speed corners, and they're performing. So it would not surprise me if they go to Baku and perform again.
How are the McLaren drivers going to go home, reflect on today, and how are they going to attack in 2 weeks?
I think in the end, it's not a massive difference in the championship. 3 points, it's good for Lando just to make sure the gap's not going bigger. But Oscar on a weekend where he's been slower to only lose 3 points is okay. It's kind of like a net draw, really, isn't it?
Well, Lando wants another team in the fight. He doesn't want to finish first and second. He wants to finish first and Piastri third or fourth. He wants to get big points.
Yeah, he needs to get big points.
It looked like it was going to be that early on, but he doesn't want Max to be too quick and win the race, because that could have been 7 points for him today. But yeah, it's probably overall it's good news, isn't it, for Lando, that Max is quick. Maybe Ferrari will be back on form. Maybe Antonelli's going to find loads of form in the last 8 races too.
Everything can happen.
It can indeed. So make sure you don't miss any of the action. Less than 2 weeks' time, we will be in Azerbaijan for more action and more fight for that championship title between the McLaren drivers. Congratulations to Max Verstappen on his win today. And we will see you in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye.
Welcome to Baku City Circuit, a venue which always delivers drama.
Welcome to Baku.
Time to bring the action. Formula One goes racing on the streets. Charles Leclerc has the lead in the turn number 1. Now it really is gloves off. One of the most unique venues on the calendar. We're heading into the wall.
This is the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Oscar Piastri wins.
What a day for McLaren.